E aí, pessoal, tudo bem? Boa tarde a todos. Estamos aqui para iniciar mais um Hangout podcast. Fale com o Maestro, e hoje nós temos o prazer de receber um querido professor, um querido amigo aí de muitos anos, quase 10 anos que a gente não se vê, é o professor Alan Holt. Ele é professor da Universidade de Denver e membro do Denver Brass, Summit Brass. A gente vai conversar tudo sobre isso hoje com ele. Nós vamos trocar essa ideia e falar um pouco sobre a sua carreira, sobre o seu trabalho profissional, sobre tudo que ele tem feito. Então, esse podcast vai ser traduzido, vou fazer as perguntas e eu vou traduzir simultaneamente, tá bom? Espero que vocês possam gostar, se divertir, porque vai ser uma grande oportunidade. So, hello, Mr. Hood. It's a great honor to have you on our podcast. I believe this is the first time that you have participated in an interview for Brazil. I don't know about that, but and then we are happy if your presence.
I think I was muted.
Yeah, yes.
Now I'm good. It turned it off. I'm so happy to be here, Israel. And I hope one day to visit your wonderful country. I've never been.
My house is open for you and your family.
Thank you.
We can go to the barbecue. Brazilian steakhouse is the best.
Yes.
So I think it's the first time since Rafael Mendez we talk live.
Yes. Yeah. What year was that?
2009, I think so.
Yeah.
2009. So was one of the most beautiful and happy day in my entire life, because I was there and I saw all my idols, my together, and it was a great opportunity, a great moment of my life. I always remember this day. So thank you for the opportunity you gave me to be there. Was amazing.
Thank you. And you're a wonderful maestro now. That's great.
Thank you. So we can start and tell you about your beginning on the trumpet. How was it?
I was 13 years old and in junior high school. So in the United States, it's like 7th grade. I was 7th grade. And I had a choice of what I wanted to play, and I tried to drum. And I didn't like practicing on the drum pad. So my mother suggested the trumpet. And I rented a trumpet and started that, and I fell in love with it. Yeah. At that time, I don't know if you know, so this was 1977. And you know the great artist, flugelhorn player Chuck Mangione?
Yes.
That name?
Yeah.
He lived in the same city that I was growing up in. So I heard him on the radio all the time. So I said, I want to play that. I want to play like that. So he and Maynard Ferguson were my big influences on the radio at the time.
Ah, great. Então ele está falando aqui, primeiro eu me apresentei, falei para ele que estava muito feliz, porque fazia uns 10 anos que eu não ouvia pessoalmente, né, pelo menos, porque a primeira vez que a gente se encontrou foi no festival do Rafael Mendez Institute, em 2009, e foi um dos momentos mais felizes, porque eu pude ver todos os grandes artistas do trompete que eu admirava, e ele me tratou tão bem, me recebeu tão bem lá, ele e a esposa dele, e eu estava muito feliz em poder reencontrá-lo. E aí eu perguntei para ele quando foi que ele iniciou, né, os estudos dele, né? E ele iniciou mais ou menos na 7ª série, ele já tinha uns 13 anos de idade, e ele começou com percussão. Aí ele não gostava muito de praticar nos pads, que é um tipo de algo que você praticar rudimentos, né? E aí a mãe dele sugeriu dele estudar trompete. E ele era muito fã de um trompetista na época, que é eu esqueci o nome do trompetista agora, mas ele toca flugel muito bem, e o Maynard Ferguson também foi uma grande influência dele. Ele ouvia muito no rádio, isso influenciou ele. So,
yes, I'm sorry that was a lot to to give you all at once. And I went and played in a high school band in the orchestra. We had a very small marching band. It was not a very big program, but I did a little of that, and I played in the jazz band, which was called the stage band at that time. And then when I was in 10th grade, I got to play with Chuck Mangione in an orchestra that backed him up. It was for the Special Olympics, and I remember that as being a very big moment in my early career, wanting to be in the music business and be a player after experiencing that. I sat next to his lead trumpet player, Jeff Tysick, and got to play this concert with him. So that was a big moment for me.
And you are a teenager or a professional?
Yeah. I was a teenager, yeah. So I was in 10th grade then, after about 3 years.
Ok.
Yeah.
Então ele estava falando, né, que então ele continuou estudando, ele tocou em algumas bandas marciais lá na escola dele, e uma big band lá, mas assim, não era muito bom o programa lá, não era tão bom assim. Mas quando ele estava seria, acho que a 10ª série, ou o primeiro colegial nosso, ele teve a oportunidade de tocar com Chuck Mangione, que eu não sei falar direito o nome, que é esse trompetista que tocava flugelhorn, era uma grande estrela da época, e teve a oportunidade de tocar com ele, ainda adolescente, assim, então foi um grande momento, ele realizou um sonho da vida dele.
Great. Yeah, and then I decided that I wanted to go to music school. So I was studying with some very good teachers in high school in my area. So I had several private lessons with people. Then I decided to audition for Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York, and I went to Ithaca, and I didn't last there very long, only 1 month. Then I went back home because it didn't work out, and I worked in I think it was like a lumber yard for a year, and then I met another important person in my life, which was my undergraduate music teacher, Vince DiMartino. Yeah, you must know him.
Yes, I did a master class with him 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's great. He taught at the University of Kentucky, and he said, "Oh, why don't you come down to Kentucky, and you can study with me there and go to music school there." And that's what I ended up doing. Yeah.
No,
so I was 19 then when I did that.
Okay, I will translate now. Então, ele comentou, né, que aí ele decidiu, então, estudar música seriamente. Ele fez algumas aulas particulares, né, e ele foi para uma universidade em Nova York, só que ele não se adaptou muito bem lá, ele só ficou 1 mês na universidade e voltou para a cidade dele e começou a trabalhar com outras coisas. Aí ele teve a oportunidade de conhecer um trompetista, Vincent de Martino, né, que os meninos conheceram ele lá no Jazz Trumpet Festival, quando ele deu aquela masterclass, o Kevin estava lá, ele até lembra dele, e aí ele começou a fazer aula, foi convidado para a Universidade do Kentucky e começou a fazer aula com ele lá. So,
yeah, so I spent like 5 years, I think, with Vince, and just had great trumpet studies. He really taught me how to the mechanics of the trumpet and everything about the trumpet that I use to this day was really came from him, as far as the mechanical part of it and just the passion for playing that. And I studied jazz and a lot of classical, both maybe 50-50 the whole time. And when I graduated from there, I ended up I actually did some tours with a group called Mr. Jack Daniel's Original Silver Cornet Band. Yeah, it's for short, Jack Daniel's Silver Cornet Band. And we toured around the country. It was a really great show, family show, beautiful music, wonderful arrangements. We had costumes, like we were the town band in 1910.
It's a Dixieland band. It's extra.
No, there was some Dixieland involved in it. There was a core Dixieland group, but it was mostly like a little brass band.
Brass band.
Little brass band, town band. And really great arrangements. And I did several tours with that group on a bus all around the country, all around the U.S. And that was very fun.
It's after, before your master degree.
Correct. Yeah, right before that.
Okay.
So, I did actually some before the masters and some after the masters. But, yeah.
Ok. I will translate. Então ele está comentando aqui que ele estudou 5 anos com Vincent de Martino, né, na faculdade. Nessa época aí que ele estudou com Vincent de Martino, ele dividiu os estudos entre 50% erudito e 50% jazz. E aí ele aprendeu muito sobre a mecânica do instrumento, né, como aprendeu a dominar essa parte mais mecânica, técnica do instrumento, porque o Vincent de Martino é um grande educador, ele é um primeiro trompete, ele é um improvisador e é um grande educador, ele consegue fazer muito bem tudo isso. E aí, depois que ele terminou a faculdade, ele fez uma turnê com uma banda, que é tipo de uma brass band. Ele fez uma turnê por todos os Estados Unidos, assim, com uns arranjos bem legais. Se vocês virem aqueles filmes de 1910, tudo, você sempre vê umas bandas de cidade, assim, tocando, daquele estilo. Ele fez uma turnê durante um tempo com essa banda aí. Isso tudo antes dele entrar para o mestrado. So
I decided at that point, well, I want to do something else someday rather than only play. So I decided actually to go get my master's degree. And that's when I went to Northern Illinois University. It's in a small town in Illinois outside of Chicago. And I studied with Ron Modell. And I was a graduate teaching assistant there. So I played in the jazz band, the orchestra, the wind ensemble, everything. I worked in Chicago a little bit. And it took me about 3 years total, I think, to earn my master's. I spent extra time doing the master's. And right after that, I did another tour with the Jack Daniels Band, so before and after that. But that was a real fun degree because Ron Modell's not only a great teacher, he led the jazz band as well. And he had a wonderful environment in the jazz band of always bringing in guest artists, wonderful guest artists, like John Faddis and James Moody and Slide Hampton. All one after another, these people came in, and I got to tour and play with them. So it was a wonderful experience. I also learned that I wanted to be a teacher when I was in my master's degree. I was a teaching assistant. I taught a few classes. I also taught some trumpet. And I fell in love with the teaching part of it, and I knew I was going to do that someday.
Então ele tá contando, né, que depois ele foi pro mestrado dele, ele ficou um pouco mais de tempo do que normalmente, ficou 3 anos fazendo o mestrado dele, em Chicago, na universidade em Chicago, e ele teve um excelente professor lá, e tinha um excelente programa de jazz, só que lá ele tocava tudo, ele tocava na orquestra, tocava na banda sinfônica, tocava na Big Band, e sempre teve grandes artistas, grandes solistas. Ele citou o nome dos caras lá. Isso foi uma boa oportunidade para ele fazer, para fazer essa experiência, fez turnê com eles, e foi lá que ele se descobriu que um dia ele queria ser professor, dar aula, né? E lá foi quando nasceu essa, saber, algum momento da minha vida eu vou fazer isso. E ele continuou fazendo as turnê deles com essa banda, Jack Daniels aí, que é uma banda que ele viajou aí pelos todos os Estados Unidos.
Yeah, it gets a little complicated. Sorry. Everything is not always straight line, right? Sometimes we take turns in the path. But right after that, I decided that well, if I'm going to teach, I'm going to have to get a doctoral degree probably, because most of the teachers I knew in colleges were earning doctorates. That's how they got the job. So I started. Well, actually, first I went to the Aspen Music Festival for a summer, and I was in their jazz program there. And I met a fellow that played the lead trumpet in the band, and he said, "Oh, I studied with Ray Cressara in Texas. He's this wonderful human being and wonderful trumpet player, great teacher, who happened to retire out of New York City into Texas." So I actually started my doctoral degree in the University of Texas with Ray Cressara, but I only spent 1 year there, and it didn't work out for me in the program in other ways. But I loved Ray Cressara, and I ended up taking a job at the University of Richmond teaching. It's my first teaching post for a sabbatical replacement for 1 year there. So that's where I went from there.
Aí tá, ele estava comentando, né, que ele falou assim, para ser professor, né, principalmente professor universitário, ele precisava pegar o doutorado, né, fazer o doutorado, porque a maioria dos professores universitários tem doutorado, entendeu? Ele precisava ter essa graduação. Então, ele foi para o Texas, e lá ele fez doutorado e conheceu ele, na verdade, foi para Aspen primeiro, que fica no Colorado. Lá ele fez um curso que tem tanto para erudito quanto para música popular. Ele fez o popular, e lá ele conheceu um rapaz que tinha estudado com alguém no Texas, indicou para ele lá, e ele foi estudar no Texas, fez o mestrado dele lá, né? Então, daí ele conseguiu o primeiro emprego dele numa universidade em Richmond, que deve ser perto ali, eu não sei onde fica exatamente. E aí, quando ele começou a carreira dele, para ele foi meio que um primeiro ano sabático, assim, que ele ficou só em um lugar.
So at this point, I married my first wife, and we moved to Richmond, Virginia. I did that 1 year, and then at the end of that year, we were having a child, a baby. My daughter Kyrie was born, and at that point, I said, "Well, I still want to work on my doctorate, but I won't go back to Texas." So I went to the University of Miami, and I worked on a doctorate in jazz studies. And at the same time I did that, I studied with the great Gil Johnson, who was in the principal trumpet of the Philadelphia Orchestra. He was teaching there at that time. So I did jazz. I also studied some classical with Gil Johnson. And I worked on my doctorate, and my thesis was going to be on the great trumpeter Clifford Brown. So I was doing all kinds of research on Clifford Brown during my time there. And after 3 years, I didn't complete the paper, but after 3 years, they hired me on the faculty as adjunct faculty. I spent 2 more years in Miami. So I never did get my doctoral degree, but I was very, very close. But I came close to finishing it, and then I was teaching at the university at that time.
So you did 1 year of jazz doctor and 1 year of jazz of classical trumpet.
No, all 3 years were in jazz, but I studied classical trumpet on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, on my own.
Ok.
Yeah.
Então agora eu entendi aqui a outra parte. Ele não conseguiu terminar o doutorado dele porque ele sempre acontecia alguma coisa, né? Ele casou, por isso que ele comentou que a vida nem sempre é uma linha reta, né? Então ele fez um tempo lá, aí depois ele foi para uma outra cidade estudar com o primeiro trompete da orquestra da Filadélfia, e aí começou a estudar erudito, e depois ele foi contratado para dar aula na universidade já na Flórida, em Miami, e aí as coisas começaram a acontecer para ele. Então, assim, então ele nunca conseguiu terminar o doutorado dele, mas ele chegou muito, muito próximo. Faltou entregar o TCC dele, né?
In my last year in Miami, which was basically 1998 to 99, I got the opportunity to play with the Phil Collins Big Band on a world tour, and that went all the way back to my master's degree in Northern Illinois. My director there, Ron Modell, was asked to put together some extra horn players for Phil's band for this tour. So, and he called me up as one of those people. So I felt very fortunate to do that. And we did this great world tour in '98. And then that's when this position here at the University of Denver came open in 1999. And it was a part classical, part jazz, and I applied for that and got this position here. So, one that I've held ever since.
Ah, ok.
Yeah.
Então ele estava contando, né, que aí surgiu uma oportunidade, né, o professor dele selecionou alguns trompetistas e indicou ele para tocar no naipe do Phil Collins Big Band, e ele participou de uma turnê mundial com ele, foi uma grande oportunidade, e na mesma época abriu a vaga para a Universidade de Denver, e aí foi aí que ele assumiu a vaga e está até hoje aí na vaga de professor aí principal aí tanto porque eles precisavam de alguém que fosse do erudito e do popular.
Yeah, and so this is my 22nd year at the University of Denver. I've been really happy to live here in Colorado, and in 2004 I brought the International Trumpet Guild Conference here, and I was the host of that conference, so that was a big event for me here. And then in 2007, that's when I brought the Mendez Institute here in the Summit Brass, and you probably remember I hosted that during those years. For the first 5 years, I was the host of that. And now, since then, the Denver Brass has taken it over as the host, and still here every summer, of course. And I played in the Denver Brass, in the Aries Brass Quintet for about 18 years, and I don't do that currently right now. But had so many great opportunities to play with wonderful musicians and be on different recordings, play with different well-known and not so well-known musicians on some great recordings, and have made 4 recordings of my own now up to this point. Yeah.
And these recordings on Spotify?
They are all on Spotify and or YouTube. Yes, and I could tell everyone what those are if they want to look them up.
Ok. Aí então ele está comentando, né, que aí em 2004 ele trouxe para a universidade a Conferência Internacional de Trompetistas, a ITG, que ocorre todo ano, onde que reúne os maiores nomes do mundo do trompete. Ele trouxe para lá em 2004 e de 2007 em diante ele começou a receber. Ele ficou por 5 anos, né, sendo o organizador do Rafael Mendez Institute lá na universidade. Agora ele não está mais à frente. Ele também tocou no Denver Brass, tanto no quinteto de metais como no grupo de metais. Ele participou desses grupos e gravou diversos discos e participou de diversos concertos com eles, assim.
Yeah, and I've trying to think of what has come up lately. That's what keeps me busy the most, the teaching post, and when I have occasion to record, I besides those 4 albums that I have of my own, I'm probably on about 50 or so different CDs. So I've had great opportunity to record, fortunately. And the 4 CDs that I've done are in 2007, just a little taste. It's trumpet with string orchestra and jazz rhythm section. And then I did 2 big band albums with the H2 big band. The first one was called You're It, and that featured Bobby Shue on trumpet as a guest, as well as a number of other great musicians. And then I did a second H2 big band album out in Los Angeles, and that's called It Could Happen. And I had a lot of great players on that, including Wayne Bergeron, played lead trumpet on that, Carl Saunders and Ron Stout, some great trumpet players on there. Then I just had 2 years ago, I did a recent album called Jazz Muses, and that was just a combo, a jazz combo rhythm section. And that was all about music that was written by my favorite trumpet players, but in turn they were inspired by different women in their life, either real or not real, to write the song. So they were inspired by these women, and then they inspired me to play, so I called it Jazz Muses, all about inspiration. So.
Então, ele tá falando, né, que ele gravou 5 CDs, né? O primeiro CD dele, ele gravou com cordas em uma sessão de cozinha. Depois ele gravou 2 CDs com Big Band, onde ele trouxe solistas e uma excelente sessão de trompetes. Ele trouxe Bob Shield, que é um dos grandes nomes do trompete nos Estados Unidos. Já teve aqui no Brasil também, no Jazz Trumpet Festival, acho que uns 3 anos atrás, 3 ou 4 anos atrás. Gravou com ele, e os últimos CDs dele, ele gravou só com cozinha, e ele chama de... ele fez dedicado a algumas musas dele, né? E ele que influenciaram a vida deles, acho que é Musas do Jazz, se não me engano o nome do CD, e tá no Spotify, isso aí, depois ele vai passar o link aí, onde é que tá no Spotify, para vocês que quiserem ouvir e acompanhar mais o trabalho dele. You're muted.
There, yeah. Yeah, so that pretty much brings me up to date as far as my general career here in the last years. So
it's a beautiful career.
A strange path.
we always says the victories, not the
right. Yeah, there's always bumps on the way.
Yeah, but it's a great life. So I don't know if I can show to the students some recording, I have some videos here.
Okay.
So can I show them?
Yeah, I have some too if you want as well. So
you have some?
Yeah, I have some too. What you can tell me what you have. And
I have a Devon Brass and Air Force Academy Falcon years here, Blues Walk. What do you prefer?
Okay. Which Denver Brass is that? America?
2008 year in review.
Oh, that, okay. Let's see. I have one of them if you want me to play it.
Okay.
Denver Brass. It's a nice video. If I can share my screen, is that?
All right. Let me put here you. Let's. We'll put here. A host. I think now you can.
Okay. Yes. Let's see. This is my desktop. Let me share the sound. Okay. Let's see. So you can see that?
I see.
Let's see. There we go. You see okay?
Yes.
That's something they put out. Oops, last year. I better shut that off here. Okay, escape that. All right, there we go. Yeah, that was done actually a year after I saw you, so 2010. But the video is recent.
Oh,
They put the music to the video. So I'm not in the group anymore. But they asked me to come because I played the solo. I played on the original one.
it's not an easy solo for everybody, but you play.
It's a very fun group, and that's a nice little kind of a gospel-y arrangement of that, of America the Beautiful. So, and the Denver Brass is still going strong. They still play a lot of concerts. Even during the pandemic, they've been playing isolated, and they've been telecasting their concerts, streaming their concerts. So.
Ah, ok. Então, ele tá comentando aqui, né, que ele gravou esse vídeo um pouco um ano antes da gente se conhecer, né? E ele não faz mais parte do grupo atualmente, mas sempre que precisa dele, ele vai lá tocar, inclusive para tocar essa música. Ele vai sempre se apresenta, eles continuam se apresentando regularmente. Quem quiser conhecer mais sobre o Denver Brass, eles têm um canal no YouTube muito bom. Vocês podem acessar lá os vídeos do Denver Brass. So, Maestro, here in my podcast, everybody's a maestro, so you are a maestro too.
Okay.
For the students, what are the tools to become a good musician for you?
For me, one of the number one things I think would be passion, to be dedicated to it. 'Cause we all know, us who have been in the music business so long in studying an instrument, how much dedication it takes to go every day to do something, improve a little something, and do a little something more. So you have to have this constant, lifelong dedication to it and passion for it. Also, in order, you need to have that in order to practice well, because we all have to learn how to practice better, right? We get in this room with ourselves, and sometimes we have not many minutes, sometimes we have a lot of minutes, but if we don't use them wisely, it becomes spinning the wheels. We end up not using our time very wisely, and we don't improve. So that's what I would say: dedication, passion, and then the ability to know how to practice better and better and better.
Então, eu perguntei para ele quais são as ferramentas que ele acha que é importante para você se tornar um bom músico, né? E ele falou sobre o estudo constante, né? E você saber aproveitar muito bem o tempo que você tem para independente do tempo que você tem, às vezes você tem muitos minutos, né, para estudar, muito tempo para estudar, às vezes você não tem tanto tempo para estudar. Mas quando você estudar bem, da maneira correta, da maneira bem feita.
Yeah.
And you practicing your trumpet every day until today?
Yes. Out of my whole life, not every day, but I try to keep very dedicated to the regular practice of it. Even though I have not much to play right now. There are no live concerts or very few. I've gotten to do one or two things, but mostly just maintaining and trying to improve little things with what I do. Listening to music, listening to a lot of music is a very powerful thing to improve yourself.
And how did you reconcile classical trumpet and jazz studies?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started on classical trumpet, So I always had that training, and I did all the regular exercise books and everything that everyone always does. Then my teacher, Howard Rowe, when I was in high school, my last couple years of high school, he was a very influential teacher. He gave me jazz records every week. Well, you remember I already had played with Chuck Mangione, so I was already interested in that.
Yeah.
And Maynard Ferguson and stuff on the radio. So, but I didn't know anything about how to improvise or play jazz. I just enjoyed it. And my teacher gave me like 4 or 5 record albums, the big ones, every week to take home with me, and I would listen to them. Chet Baker, Clifford Brown, Jack Sheldon, Lee Morgan, all these different people. And I started falling in love with that genre, and I wanted to learn more about how to improvise, so I started getting books and reading them and just trying them with play-along records and things like that. And then I found a couple teachers who taught me some information about the theory, but I was also reading it in books. So I started to teach myself, basically, how to play jazz. And then when I got to Kentucky with Vince DiMartino, he does that a lot. So so I had a couple courses with him in that genre. So that actually became more of my passion and more of what I wanted to do in my career. Even though classical also, I love classical music and highly respect it and always play it the best I can. But that didn't become my focus. But I always do that. I always admire doing that.
Então, eu perguntei para ele, né, sobre se ele estuda todos os dias, né, se ele mantém a rotina dele. Ele fala que estuda todos os dias, é lógico que nem sempre. Tem, falar toda a vida dele, ele ficou alguns dias sem tocar, mas ele procura manter a rotina dele, estudar. E aí eu perguntei logo em seguida como que ele faz para conciliar o estudo da música erudita, do trompete erudito, com o trompete popular, né? Então, ele teve uma boa base de música erudita, né, da parte do trompete mais clássico, e aí depois ele começou a focar mais no jazz, principalmente quando ele conheceu o grande ídolo dele lá, o Chuck Mangione lá. Então, ele começou a ouvir, a tirar música do CD e do disco, no caso, e começou a pegar os play-alongs, que é aqueles playback lá, os playbacks e tudo, os livros, e ele começou a estudar sozinho, assim, e quando ele foi estudar com Vincent DiMartino, aí sim fazia parte do programa o estudo dos dois conteúdos, e aí ele sempre focou mais para o jazz mesmo, sempre focou mais para os estudos do jazz. Do you think you are more a streamer or a solist as a jazz trumpet fan? Jazz trumpet.
I would say a soloist. Yeah.
Soloist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you do a lot. You do a lot first trumpet. A lot of gigs doing that.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
No. But in college, yes, I did that, and then a few gigs here and there when I was younger, but not anymore.
And do you think it's you can do the both, to be the first and the soloist the same level, or you need to focus?
I would need to focus on playing lead trumpet, first trumpet. I know how to do it. I know the sensibility and the mechanics of it, but I don't practice my chops like that. And I'll have to tell you and your students a story about something that happened to me in this whole process. I think it was 2013. Tell me if I'm saying too much, but these teeth down here, they became loose, and they had to pull them out. So these are false. And they glued a bridge in there, and ever since then it hasn't been the same.
Ah,
for the last 7 or 8 years. The mouthpiece doesn't quite match the way my teeth used to be, so that's been a big detriment. So my story to your students is to take care of your teeth, so they don't become loose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Então eu perguntei para ele, né, se se é possível você conseguir conciliar o primeiro trompete com ser solista, né? Ele falou assim que não é bom. Ele prefere focar só em uma coisa, né? Ele sabe como fazer como ser um primeiro trompete. Ele tocou bastante até na faculdade, mas são coisas diferentes. Inclusive ele estava contando que ele teve um problema aí, né? Um problema de saúde. E ele teve que tirar os dentes de baixo, né? E hoje ele usa a famosa dentadura, né? Aqui no Brasil. E ele já não tem o mesmo apoio como ele tinha antes, então ele não se sente tão confortável para tocar, para fazer primeiro trompete. Então, é por causa disso aí. E aí ele deu um conselho, né, para os alunos, né? Então, para todos vocês, cuidem bem dos seus dentes, né? Porque para a gente é primordial para tocar trompete. So it's a I I think when I was a teenager, I used the breathless
Mm-hmm.
here, and I know if you don't have this kind of security here, you can play well.
Right. That's correct. Yeah.
I imagine it's not a good sensation.
No, that's it's the reason why I left the Denver Brass, and I don't play as much classical anymore because the security is not as comfortable. So I feel awkward to play. I can still play jazz. Yeah.
And so you have any story about the age when you were playing at the Phil Collins Big Band? You have some stories to tell us, because I think it was the great moment of your life, because you are with the best of the
Yes.
world.
Yes. Yeah, because he used all his regular musicians were in the band, and there was eight of us or so that were added to fill up the big band. So it was playing with some very great musicians at the time, and he flew everyone over to Switzerland to rehearse because that's where he lives, and he rented out a theater, and then we'd come in all day and learn the music and practice the music because I don't think it's awkward that I'm saying this, but Phil Collins cannot read music at all.
I know.
Yeah, so all his sheet music, I stood next to him. All his sheet music were words like listen the trumpets do this here, listen for the saxophones here, and he learned everything by ear. So we had to repeat it, of course, many times. We had a lot of rehearsal time with that. But he's such a great musician and a great drummer. And of course, I knew him for his singing, but he was the drummer on this tour. And at the end of the show, he would come out and sing two jazz songs at the end of the show. And we just did city after city it was high level, high quality playing. And ended up, I think there's a record that they made in Paris called the Phil Collins Big Band in Paris that I'm on. So,
Hot Night in Paris, no?
Hot Night in Paris, that's correct.
Yes, I have this CD.
Yeah, at the Rex Theater in Paris. So it was a really fun tour because we rehearsed over there, then we came back to the United States and toured all around the States. And we kind of ended in Carnegie Hall. Was our last concert there. Then we had a few weeks off, and then we went back to Europe, and we did all the festivals and the places in Europe for about another month or so. It was about 2.5 months total, the tour.
Great. Então eu perguntei para ele se ele podia contar como era ter tocado na Big Band com o Phil Collins, né? E ele contou que os ensaios foram na Suíça, né? Que é onde que ele mora. E eles tinham muitos ensaios, porque o Phil Collins, ele era o baterista da banda, estava tocando bateria, mas ele é um cantor, né? E ele não sabia ler partitura. E ele sentava bem do lado do Phil Collins, e a partitura dele estava escrito, estava em palavras, então era: faça isso quando ouça os trompetes, ouça, sei lá, os saxofones. Era algumas deixas para ele saber o que estava acontecendo, assim. Então ele não lia a partitura, aí eles fizeram bastante ensaio, só que ele tinha um ouvido muito bom. Então ele acabou pegando, assim, e sendo um excelente baterista para o grupo. É isso, ele só cantava mesmo no final do show, 2 músicas, assim, e aí eles rodaram toda a Europa. Fizeram também concerto nos Estados Unidos, mas eles rodaram toda a Europa aí com shows aí, foi um momento bem especial.
I actually have a short clip of playing a solo with the band if you want to see that.
Yeah. Let me put you as a host again. Já passar um vídeo tocando com o Phil Collins.
There we go. That's shared. Okay. Let's see. There he goes. That's no beard. Oh.
Great. I saw you have other videos. You are playing with Alain Vizut.
Yes, and Doc Severson. Yeah. And Vince DiMartino, all of us there. Yeah.
Me and my students saw the Vincent Martina play in front of us. It's a beautiful sound, and he played classical trumpet
just as well. Yeah.
It's amazing, and he's so kind. So he loves one of my students, and my students. It's I teach in social project here in my city, and they are a little poor, so it was the first time they came to a theater to show a big band. So it was a great day for them, and they had the opportunity to saw in the same day Vincent Martino and James Morrison.
Oh wow!
At the same day. It was a great day.
Wow. Yeah, Vince has been such a great influence on me. All my teaching is in his style very much, and my career has been modeled after his, because he does it everything at such the highest level. And then James Morrison, I only got to see him live a couple times, but when I teach a pedagogy course here and I use all his tutorial videos, I don't know if you've seen those, James Morrison trumpet course. They're so good, his videos.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, look those up sometime on YouTube. I think they're just James Morrison trumpet videos, trumpet course.
But it's interesting because when he went here, he played. He was not so good because he was bite for a widow.
Oh no!
Yes.
Wow.
And he played. No, everybody's not. He played sit down in the chair because he couldn't stay, but he played the same way he always play, doing all the things that he's do. And after the show, the next day he went to the hospital because he was so ill and he needed to go to Europe because they have a gig there. He couldn't went because he was a bite and he didn't know about that. The doctor says it was a bite for a widow. You need to stay here.
Wow.
It's a incredible story.
Yes.
So can you share the other video you play with them?
Yeah, this is Al Bazzuti plays first. Do you want to hear that one?
You can. I'll do.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, you have time.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, I'll backtrack it a little bit. Let's see. I have to find. Here we go.
Bazzuti.
This is I gotta find where.
Ah, awesome. Very good.
And
And
Vince plays a little on the shout chorus at the end, but he doesn't play a solo on this one. So that it was a surprise that Doc Severinsen came up, as you saw, because everything was kind of loose, and Vince was kind of directing traffic, saying, "Okay, you play now. Okay, no, trade with Doc and do this." And then the backgrounds had to come in. That's why I stopped soloing, and then they made me come back and solo again. But it was fun. It was fun.
yeah. Não, eu perguntei para ele, né? Na verdade, eu já nem lembro mais o que eu perguntei para ele. Mas ele tá mostrando aí o vídeo aí dele tocando, né? Com esses grandes nomes aí do jazz, né? Eu comentei com ele que os meus alunos participaram no festival e foram lá e conheceram o Vicente Martino, viram ele tocando em frente, e também o James Morrison. E aí eu contei para ele a história do James Morrison, que ele tocou no palco sentado, ele não estava muito bem, se sentindo muito bem, mas tocou tudo. Aí chegou no final, no dia seguinte ele foi para o hospital, porque não estava passando bem, e aí o médico diagnosticou que ele tinha sido picado por uma viúva negra. Ele tinha sido picado por um inseto, e ele tocou doente, né? Tocou doente, aí até perdeu a turnê dele, que uma viagem que ele tinha para a Europa fazer. E aí ele tá mostrando o vídeo dele tocando com a Len Vizut e o Doc Severs, Vicente Martino, mostrou os solos dele, e o Doc Severs é um dos grandes nomes do trompete. Ele tocava num programa, um talk show nos Estados Unidos, I forgot the name of the show of Severs, Doc Severs played.
The Tonight Show.
Tonight Show.
Tonight Show.
The host was James.
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson, yes.
Então ele tocava nesse show aí do Johnny Carson. Ele era o maestro da banda. Tem vários vídeos no YouTube. Depois eu mostro para vocês. And how year was the concert?
That was I think 2013.
13.
Yeah.
Now Mr. Severs has 93 years old.
Yes, 93. Yeah.
It's a great honor. He's so amazing trumpet player.
He's the most dedicated trumpet player I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, he practices all the time. He's really mindset trumpet music. Yeah.
Oh, great. Então ele tá falando assim, ele tá com 93, esse show foi em 2013, então não faz tanto tempo assim, mas ele já estava bem velhinho, e ele falou que o Doc Severs tem um jeito de tocar, um jeito de pensar trompete. Ele é muito dedicado, é o cara mais dedicado que ele conheceu até hoje, e ele tem que influencia ele bastante. Pessoal, alguém tem alguma pergunta para fazer? Aproveita agora, tá? Aproveita que a gente já está indo para o final, e quem quiser fazer uma pergunta, já levanta a mãozinha e fala. Now I will open for the students, so once you ask some question for you. Albert, faz uma pergunta aí, Albert.
Ok. Quer me matar de vergonha, né?
Abre a sua câmera.
É Alan, né? Vamos ver. Alan, né? O nome dele?
Hello. Isso. Ele tá falando hello para você.
Hello.
Hey, hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Great.
So I will try to make some questions for you.
Okay.
Because my English is a little bit rusty, but I will try to talk with you, okay?
Yes.
So I was learning how to play the cello, but now I'm stopped. So you always would like to play trumpets, or you had another instrument that you would like to learn how to play?
I've always only played the trumpet. I was telling Maestro Cardoso earlier that I wanted to play the drums.
Okay.
I always feel the drums inside me whenever I'm playing whatever music I'm playing, but mostly jazz. But I always listen for the drummer. I feel the drummer. I almost want to play it when it's going on, but I've never studied and learned it.
Drummer, it's an instrument that I thought that everybody wants to how to play,
Yeah,
and because it's very exciting to play that,
yeah.
you need to shake your body. So I
Wow is
I
good.
thought that you can feel the song, the music, but I like the song about the trumpets, and I intend to return to study my instrument. So it's not about the trumpet; it's a cello. So, but I
Yeah.
like so much the trumpets too. But is this, and I like to know that you play with Phil Collins. Phil Collins, it's a great singer, and I like him so much because the Tarzan movie.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
He did
remember
that.
that song.
Yeah, he was working
Yeah,
on that while we were touring. He was working on it, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a pleasure to meet you now. So
Thank you, Albert.
now you have a new fan here in Brazil.
Thank you. And to me, cello is the most vocal of all the instruments to me. Maybe trumpet is second, maybe, but cello is the most beautiful sound, and I think the one you can sound the most vocal on. And I try to emulate that when I play a vocal sound or a cello sound or something like that. So
Yeah, I, I like to study cello, but I needed to stop a little bit because my work. So and I'm leaving a little bit more far from that when I study. So it's more difficult to me to go there.
yeah,
But now I intend to return to study because I have one book here, some some exercise
hmm
the art music, and I'm trying to study alone here and with the how do I say this in English? So I will try to remember. It's advice about my maestro
hmm
and Israel, and I'm trying to study here until I can return to study.
good.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you so much. Have the best time with your music.
So thank you.
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Now we're going to translate because the other student.
Okay.
So,
I can't even speak one word of Portuguese. So
obrigado.
I, oh, okay. I didn't even know what that was.
Obrigado. Thank you. Obrigado.
Oh, obrigado. Okay.
Ah, yeah, one word.
All right. One word. One word.
Okay, now Albert will translate his question.
Okay.
Albert, traduz aí agora para o pessoal que ficou boiando.
Ah, meu Deus, eu e a minha vergonha. Eu sou o advogado mais vergonhoso que tem. Eu tinha perguntado, primeiro eu falei que eu estudava cello quando eu estudava trompete, e eu perguntei se ele teve interesse em tocar outro instrumento além de trompete. E ele falou que sempre gostou de bateria, mas ele nunca estudou para tocar, né? Ele só desde pequeno, desde criança, ele sempre estudou trompete e tocou trompete.
Essa é a sua tradução? Confia nela?
Confio. Resumidamente, né?
Okay. Mr. Wood, Kevin has a question. He's one of my students of trumpet.
Okay.
But I will ask you for him because he a little bit shy. But he wants to know about stage fright. How to beat stage fright or stage fear?
Oh, good question, and a big question on everyone's minds all the time. I think everyone encounters stage fright. I still do to this day. And any time I walk out, stomach dry, some butterflies, sweating. all those kinds of things. The main thing for me, personally, that I found is that you must have the music in your head. The number one priority must be the music and what it needs to sound like. And you're just thinking about that, only thinking about that, because a lot of other thoughts come into my head. Am I going to crack notes? Is this person going to like this or whatnot? And I think that happens to everybody, but it can't take over your body. So I always go back to the music, only the music, and try to make that the central focus of it. So I don't get rid of the stage fright, but I replace it with the music. So I still have those things happening to me, even to this day. So that's the number one thing. The other big thing is you're going to get very nervous if you're not prepared to do what you're about to do. So be prepared as much as possible to do the task you're about to do. So know the piece very well, have practiced it many different times under pressure and study it. Those are the two pieces of advice I would give for performance anxiety or stage fright.
Ok. Kevin, eu fiz aquela pergunta que você fez na sexta-feira sobre como vencer o medo, né? O medo de palco, né? O nervosismo, né? E aí ele falou assim, ele deu 2 conselhos para você. O primeiro conselho tenha música na sua cabeça, tá? Antes de você tocar, não fique pensando em outra coisa que não seja música. Então, já tenha muito bem a música na sua cabeça, que você vai tocar, o que você vai fazer, para que você não fique pensando no nervosismo, não fique focando em coisas que não vai te ajudar. Porque ele, mesmo depois de tantos anos tocando e acompanhando tanta gente, ele ainda ele se sente, às vezes, ansioso para tocar. Mas ele tenta focar primeiro na música, focar no como ele quer soar e como ele quer fazer. O segundo conselho que ele dá também é para que você esteja mais preparado possível, que você se prepare o melhor que puder se preparar. Quanto mais preparado você tiver, mais confiante você vai estar para tocar e fazer aquilo que você tem que fazer, tá bom? Now we are going to start to end our interview, unfortunately, because it's a great opportunity to talk with you again.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I want you, what advice you talk to your students or other students for their life, how your goal device you give us to be a human being or a professional musician. What advice you give us, you always give to your students?
Yes. One thing I want to leave everyone with is that anytime I meet with some students or daily with students, is that we must have fun with this. We must enjoy it to the fullest. It's a very great honor and privilege to play music and to communicate that with other people, and we can never lose sight of that fun and enjoyment and that ability to communicate. So anytime I'm working with students or giving advice, I'm saying, are you having fun doing that? Or are you getting joy out of this? Even though we're working on very technical things and really minute details and all that, and we're critiquing ourselves all the time, it's still fun. It's still fun because the ultimate goal of it is to make this wonderful music, which is a communication with others. So my best advice is to enjoy what you're doing all the time, even if you're practicing something and it seems like drudgery over and over again. Find something in it to love and enjoy, so it keeps that spark going to do the next thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So that's my main advice. Of course, it goes back to the thing I said about passion, and just enjoying every moment of it, having that great drive and determination and passion. It's because of the music that we love it. So, and not everyone gets to do it. It's a privilege,
Yes.
definitely.
Bom, eu perguntei para ele, né? Nós já estamos caminhando para o final da nosso bate-papo aqui. Qual é o grande conselho, né, que ele dá para os alunos ou para outros alunos sobre a vida, sobre a profissão e coisa e tal? Ele falou assim que o melhor conselho que ele dá, assim, é que para que a gente se divirta com aquilo que a gente está fazendo. A música, ela precisa ser divertida para você. Ela não pode ser, mesmo que você esteja estudando aquela coisa mais técnica possível, aquela parte, aquele exercício técnico mais chato que você acha chato, tem que ser divertida. Então, se divirta tocando, faça música por diversão, porque a gente tem o privilégio de tocar e fazer música, então a gente tem que aproveitar cada momento. So, Mr. Rood, thank you very much for this hangout. For me, I'm so happy, so glad to have you here. I enjoy, and all the minutes we stayed here. So when you come to Brazil, you are invited to be here in my house. You can live here if you want. Bring your trumpet. You can play some urban duets. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I had one student from Brazil, Arthur Zanin.
Yeah, my friend.
Yeah, your friend Arthur de Camargo Zanin. And ever since I met him, I've wanted to go there. He's from Sao Paulo, right? Yeah.
I live near São Paulo. It's a city called Mogi das Cruzes. It's near São Paulo, but here has a great steakhouse. We can go there.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know if you eat meat. I don't know if you like, but Brazilian steakhouse is famous around the world. So.
That's great. Well, I thank you so much for inviting me to do this. Ever since I've met you at the Mendez Institute, I've just been so happy to know you. I think about you often and your smiling face, and I see you online, and I'm glad to see you and your students are doing so well with music, and that it's such a worldwide thing, isn't it? It just spreads all over. So thank you so much for including me in this.
Ok, thank you.
Hope it was fun.
Thank you. Bom, pessoal, muito obrigado aí. Eu agradecer a ele por esse bate-papo. Esse podcast vai estar disponível lá no Spotify e depois no YouTube também, tá bom? Quem quiser conhecer mais o trabalho dele, ele tem um canal no YouTube, você procura lá, Alan Hood, YouTube channel dele lá, o canal dele no YouTube, tem vídeos. Você pode ver lá, o Denver Brass também tem vídeos, e o Rafael Mendez Institute também tem vídeos lá dele tocando. Quem quiser participar do festival dele, também, mesmo que eu participei, depois entre em contato comigo. Your CDs on the Spotify, do you have the address of...
Yeah, I think they're all on Spotify. Yeah. You can look up by either H2 Big Band or by my name, Al Hood. Yeah.
Os CDs dele tá no Spotify, tá? Vocês vão lá no Spotify, digita o nome dele, que vocês vão encontrar lá, vão encontrar os CDs, tá? Tanto das Big Bands que ele toca e coisa e tal, tá bom? Não esqueçam aí de assinar, o pessoal que está vendo no YouTube, de assinar o meu canal, de seguir as notificações, de ativar as notificações, deixa uma mensagem, um recado aí para a gente aí, compartilhe depois aí com o pessoal, tá? E eu quero agradecer a todos que participaram aí, todos os alunos que estão participando. So, Mr. Wood, thank you, have a nice day, a nice week, I see you soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if any of your students want to write me, you have my email.
Ok.
We can translate, and I'll happy to answer questions. Okay.
Ótimo. Great. Bom, ele está falando, se alguém quiser entrar em contato com ele, além dele estar nas redes sociais, eu tenho um e-mail dele, pode vir entrar em contato comigo e vocês podem enviar um e-mail para ele que ele responde qualquer pergunta que vocês tiverem, tá? Thank you, Mr. Hood. Have a nice day. See you.
Bye, everyone. Nice to meet you. Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.